Hello and welcome to Peter's Principles. As you know, you never know who you're going to see on Peter's Principles, and today we have a kind of a treat because we've got a person who put out a magazine on Lowell, and I saw the magazine and I thought, now there's a story. So we have Cam Preciado, did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, Preciado. Okay. Yeah, you did great.
Okay. Who has put out a magazine on Lowell, the Best of Lowell. These are his first two, right?
Yep. Okay,
and this one. And then this one, which is the one that caught my eye because I hadn't seen the other two before. And I understand the girl on the cover is from Lowell?
Yeah, she is the daughter of the owner from Indigo Salon on Merrimack Street. Her name is Paige, and she had never done any modeling before.
Is that right?
So this was a huge first for her, and all her family were like super excited. For us, it was a treat because obviously she was just great to work with.
Oh, she's a beautiful girl.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I know that that salon did Johnny Damon's hair. I told you.
Yeah, you were mentioning that. That's right.
They did Johnny Damon's hair when Johnny Damon had a mullet, and. My wife went there once, and they said, "Do you want to use the scissors that I use on Johnny Damon?" And she said, "Sure." So she got her hair cut by Johnny Damon's scissors.
That's great. I have to talk to them about that. I wonder if they know the story.
I don't know if they.
I wonder if it's the same owners.
I think it is, but I'm not sure. Anyway, the magazine is available for free. You can pick it up here at the LTC. You can pick it up in a variety of different locations. Where do you have the magazine largely distributed?
Well, we have about 40 to 50 distributors, mostly in the downtown area, but I always carry a large stack with me, and I'm always distributing them to any place that really will accept our publication. We even have distributors in the greater Boston area. We even have them in Boston at Charles River Dental. We have them at Reading Pediatric Associates. We have them at Stoneham Medical Group. So these are past clients of mine that want to help and promote Lowell.
This is a great way to promote Lowell.
Yes. I do see it as the future of Lowell advertising. I feel like every great city that you go to, they have great marketing materials. I was really inspired by, I think we went to Provincetown or Newport, and picking up these free publications that were just like promoting everything in Newport. I think theirs were annually printed once a year.
Right.
But seeing that, I took it home with me, and it made me want to go back. And I had a little directory with everything, and I feel like for us, Lowell, right now we're only doing 2,000 copies, but the future of it is to do 10, 20,000 copies.
I can see where it might hit that amount. I understand that you're breaking off, and you've got to be in Hawaii in August?
Yes. Yeah, we are moving to Honolulu, so obviously we are going to keep the magazine going. We're working with a variety of partners, including our printers at Owl Stamp. I don't know if you know Peter.
Owl Stamp, yeah.
So Peter is our exclusive printer, and he's also one of our primary sponsors. This year, our main sponsors were Mill 42 Federal Credit Union, Salon Taz, and the Owl Stamp Visual Solutions. So they really paid exclusive amount of money to upfront to be featured for the whole year, and they're in all of our marketing materials. So this coming year, we're gonna seek similar partnerships, and we have a few designers already lined up to keep this magazine going, because we are going to be moving in less than 90 days now.
Okay, but you anticipate keeping the Best of Lowell magazine?
Oh yes, it's going to keep going. In fact, in the fall, after we leave, we're jumping to 5,000 copies. So for the next year, we're going to do 5,000 copies, and then looking at 2018, we'll probably jump on board with 10,000 copies.
Now, is it profitable?
Yeah, it's very profitable because the print costs, the main costs are just print. And locally, Owl Stamp gives us unbelievable rates. They do a phenomenal job competing with online printers. And because it's a small magazine, we want to keep it, at this size.
Right.
And minimum pages, right now we have 20, we're going to jump to 24.
Okay.
So if you keep a low amount of staff, one or two people, one person doing sales, one person doing the graphics, it does become a very profitable. If it grows and it's much bigger, I do think it can even grow from where it is today, even more profitable as we jump to more copies.
Right. We look for profitable companies in Lowell as part of the program, as the Peter's Principles, and this looks very good to me. I mean, it's very polished and it's very well written, and I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I enjoyed the last two copies that you gave me yesterday or the day before. What's causing you? What's in Hawaii?
Well, I used to live in Hawaii, and
okay.
yeah, so it's a lifestyle. It really is a lifestyle. We've been fairly successful here in Lowell with my marketing services, because primarily I'm a graphic designer and a photographer. That's why I'm able to do all of these things all in one. But in Hawaii, I can do that as well, just living a different life. I really want to enjoy more of the sun. I don't like winter. I kind of want a bigger city to expand my services to, but we've accomplished so much here in Lowell. And I love Lowell. I went to school at UMass Lowell. I've lived here 3 or 4 different times. I've owned property in the past, and of course I started Christian Hill Studios, which is the parent company of this all.
Now, Christian Hill Studios is where?
Christian Hill Studios is right where you came, at the office in downtown Lowell at 9 Central.
Above Edible Arrangements.
Above Edible Arrangements. We have about 10,000 square feet, 35 studio spaces that we rent out to the creative community.
Okay, so
and that's
now you were talking with somebody before that we started. How many artists do you have?
Right now we have about 26. We have about 8, 9 open studios that we're currently marketing. So yeah, we're looking for designers, photographers, artists, developers, you name it. Even small business owners. We even have people who do taxes. We have life coaches there. So yeah, it's a nice variety.
So you have the upper three. The upper three.
I have the 5th floor. I have studio, and then we branched out. We have half a floor on the 4th, and about a quarter of the floor on the 6th.
Okay, so
they're kind of spread out.
You got three areas where people can visit you.
Yeah.
And I take it they can look at their artwork that you have on file on display while they're there.
Well, we don't necessarily. We're not an artist community. First of all, we really only have about 2 or 3 artists. The rest of them are. We have. I do have an artist that works for Cosmopolitan magazine. That's all he does in California, and he works locally. I have another photographer. He photo retouches. All he does is retouching photos for companies like New Balance, Alex and Ani, Puma. So he does super high-end work. We have others who are just photographers, planetary photographers. They take, still yet I have musicians. I have a recording studio on site, really beautiful recording studio called Mojel Productions. And they've been there with me for a long time now.
And they're turning out music? Videos?
Yeah, they record albums. Yep, for the local community. And they even have clients coming in from New York, Atlanta. People fly up here just to get their services because they're very affordable. I give them great rates, and they're able to pass on those savings to an up-and-coming music community.
Okay. The inside of this is there's a lot of advertising, I notice.
Yes.
You obviously lucked into a lot of companies that want to advertise in your magazine. Is that a fair statement?
Do a lot of companies want to advertise in the magazine? I think every company is looking for an innovative way to market their business, and that's where we come in. There you have newspaper. you have other local publications, you have radio, obviously you have social media. But with the Best of Lowell magazine, what we found out is that people love it. They love to pick it up, and that's very marketable because it's small. In our first issue, we talked about how these magazines target our low attention span.
Right.
Very minimum editorial. If you look at page 6, we have signature cocktails. There's one paragraph and 5 photos, right? So you can read through this magazine fairly quickly.
Right.
And if you advertise in here, your ad is not going to get lost like it would in a newspaper,
Right.
right? It's distributed quarterly, so it has a fairly long shelf life. And at 20 pages, 24 pages, everyone's going to see your ad.
Right.
We offer free graphic design, free photography included in all the price. So, and of course, they're always free to design their own. But yes, it's mostly advertising. That's really what it is. It's an advertising platform, a creative advertising platform.
I took the liberty of distributing it to the Leahy
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Hospital.
Nice.
So the Leahy Hospital has it in their waiting rooms. And it was picked up quickly. So I think that's something to it.
Yeah.
I loved your spot on aerial photography. We have a person here who does aerial drone photography.
Oh, great.
And so
Who is that?
Jeff.
Oh, okay.
Jeff
I think I've
Klain.
heard of him. Yep.
And he does aerial drone photography, and then he did downtown, which was fascinating. It's lower. You were in a helicopter, right?
I was in a helicopter, yes.
Okay, so
It happened by mistake, though. I was actually doing a helicopter class,
Oh,
and it was a little bit later in the afternoon, and he asked me where I wanted to go, because we were flying out of Nashua.
right.
So I said, oh my gosh, can we fly to Lowell? I would love to see Lowell. So it's funny because a lot of our pictures, they didn't come out fully HD. Some of them were pixelated, but we got some unbelievable views. And then, of course, we worked with Airgauze Aerial Photography. Jamie Boudreau was kind enough to share some of his photos with us. It was just, a little story that we wanted to share with the public, just how beautiful Lowell looks, both day and night.
You have some fantastic pictures of Lowell both day and night. It's great. And then you have advertising, which I think is very important to you. And what made you start a magazine of all things?
Well, we have we didn't get to the magazine right off the bat. Actually, we had to take a few steps back. I was waiting to pick up a friend in downtown Lowell a couple of years ago. I want to say maybe 4 or 5 years ago. And I witnessed a break-in right on Central Street. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching this person break in, and I call the cops, and they were able to identify them. But I looked at the storefront that one day and I was like, wow, I just don't feel like people would want to destroy something beautiful. Most people won't.
Right.
And this particular store just looked awful. So that was one thing that started a spark in my mind. The other spark was when I started inviting friends over to Lowell. I'd be like, hey, come down to Lowell, because they live in Boston or they live in Stoneham, whatever. They would ask me the question, like, what's there in Lowell? Isn't it like Lawrence? Now, I've worked in Lawrence. I grew up in North Andover, which is right next to Lawrence. Lawrence, which is up and coming, has a great community of people. There is a big difference between Lowell and Lawrence. Lowell has a Division I school. It's got beautiful canalways. Lawrence, of course, has that as well. But it's got a much bigger, thriving economic community.
Right.
There's beautiful restaurants here. We have Lawrence is not a federally funded historic park.
Right. It's the state
Lowell
park.
is. So there are major differences. And as I was trying to talk to people to convince them to come to Lowell, I was like, okay, we need to change. So a little history on me. I used to work for North Shore Magazine.
Okay.
It's a big time publication here locally. It kind of competes with Boston Magazine, except they target the North Shore. So while working there, they do the Best of North Shore Awards. And they go and the readers actually select the best businesses in the area. You might have seen Bonds, Best of North Shore.
Right.
Businesses will really I mean, I used to see how businesses would accept the award, and they used to be so grateful just being acknowledged. And so when I started working here in Lowell, I was like, we need a micro version of that. Because Lowell, ironically enough, was outside of North Shore's distribution.
Right.
So Lowell didn't really qualify for a Best of North Shore award.
Right.
So I started that about 3 years ago. I said, I'm going to start the Best of Lowell Awards. And it started off with just a simple little sticker. Actually, I wonder if I have it in here. No, this is the newest one. So you might, if you walk around, you'll see a bright yellow and black 2014 Best of Lowell Award. And that's how we started.
That's how, really?
We started off just giving a decal and taking photos, and people really reacted really positively. That first year, we selected the winners, a panel of us. And then last year, we actually opened up voting on Facebook. And the numbers were staggering. I mean, we had about 70,000 votes in a month and a half.
Did you?
Yeah, it was really awesome. People were really energetic about it because they receive free marketing. They get listed all year long in the magazine. They have exclusive access to advertising in the magazine because we handpick our advertising partners. It's not just anybody that can advertise in it, even if they want to pay. And then, of course, they got the free decal that goes on, and then we just marketed them online.
I wonder where that decal came from.
Yeah, that's us.
That's you.
That's us.
Okay, all
It
right.
actually took me a year before I was ready with the design for the decal. I went through 25 different designs until we finally picked the right one. And that's how it started.
I like the decal that you put out.
Thank you.
It looks extremely good, and I've noticed it on the glass.
Yes,
It
stands out.
Stands out.
Yeah.
And it looks good. And when I saw Best of All magazine with, this was the first time I saw one. I didn't see the first two until you showed them to me. And I thought, you know, that's really a classy front page. And it's really a good front page, and there must be some good stuff in there. So I read on aerial photography, which I'm interested in anyway. And I really liked what you did with the Best of All Awards. I think is a great idea, and it just.
Well, you can see why we have it.
Right.
I mean, there are just so many beautiful businesses in downtown. These, I mean, to be clear, the Best of Lowell Awards is a award given out in recognition of beautiful businesses. There are some guidelines, like you have to have a storefront.
Right.
You have to have been open for at least a year. You can't really be a franchise. So, you know, franchises kind of have an unfair advantage. But we have so many. I mean, this year we're going to be nominating 50. Last year we nominated 40. This year we're going to nominate 50 businesses.
And how many do you pick?
Last year we picked 25. For this year, I'm not sure.
You're not sure yet?
Maybe 30.
Okay. Well,
It's going to be tough to pick either way. But the public chooses.
Now, are you coming back from Hawaii for this award ceremony?
No, I'm going to be supervising the whole thing. So yeah, no, I'm not going to be flying back from Hawaii unless, of course, unless of course Lowell pays for the ticket
Well,
to fly me back. But nowadays you can do everything remotely.
that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is a big deal though, giving the awards out. You do have to go with a team. You have to. You have a team, a person like, say, for example, myself. You dress up. You look sharp. You're carrying these large signs. You know these photos.
Right.
You have to clean up the window, and then another person actually puts on the decal. It has to be put on very carefully and rubbed on with your warm hand to melt the glue and really bind it. You can't do it when it's too cold, because then the glue won't bind as well. You have to do it on a warmer day.
Well,
So it is a process.
Thinking-
It takes.
Thinking of all these things just indicates that you're a very studious in your appraisals of what is going on.
Yeah.
In town, and I'm impressed with the magazine. I'm impressed with the fact that you're as studious as you are, and that you know what happens in Lowell, what goes on in Lowell, and you are interested in it. So,
I think one of the things that makes Lowell so prevalent and ageless is the fact that we're home to some of America's. We have American castles here, and that's our mill buildings. Our mill buildings are the heart and soul of this city, and they were when they were erected. We, at one point, were the center of American, the economy
Right.
revolved around Lowell, whether it was the slave trades and the cotton development down in the South. All that cotton came up here. Lowell, Lawrence, Nashua, so on. But Lowell was at the forefront of that. Now, these mill buildings are being renovated into multi-million-dollar projects and super high-end luxury lofts.
Right.
And that's the next wave. Now, very wealthy people are moving up here from Boston because it's actually an easy commute. Just jump on the train.
They're moving into Lowell Center.
Exactly,
That's
into the lofts.
downtown.
Yeah. So we're seeing a resurgence of that. It's kind of funny because I feel like in 10 years, Lowell is going to look even better than it does today. 10 times better, I feel. There's a lot of new development happening.
My wife teaches in Lawrence, so I get a good bit of Lawrence in my daily. My daily. I want to say cube, but that's not the word I'm looking for. But I see a lot about Lawrence from her experiences there, and it's an interesting city. It doesn't have the National Park Service, which I think makes a big difference. It does have a state park downtown, but it's. I don't think it's competitive. I think when people compare Lawrence and Lowell and say, well, it's Lowell's like Lawrence, isn't it? It just doesn't take into account what's happened in the city over the course of the past 20 or so years.
Right. Yeah, it doesn't take into account how different they are, and yet how alike they are. Lawrence just has not seen the type of like the burst of new businesses opening up,
Right.
like Lowell has. I
Right.
think Lawrence still has some ways to go before higher end. I mean, I don't know about higher end, but certainly before they can see the type of economic development that we've seen here in Lowell in the past. Even the last 5 years, how many new restaurants have opened up?
Well, just the community medical center, for instance, is a massive amount of money that was slated for Lowell, and I think that it was done by Congresswoman Saunders, but I'm not sure. And it just there are a variety of different things that are happening in Lowell that just don't happen anywhere else. So that's when I come up with my center of the universe thing. I just see things happening in Lowell that don't happen elsewhere, and it's very nice. It's a great thing, and I love the Best of Lowell awards. They look terrific on your magazine, and I recognize most of the businesses that you gave the Best of Lowell awards to, so that's good, and a lot of we're the only complaint that I hear about from people in Lowell is that we're mostly restaurants, and that is a thing. It's not a bad thing. It's just a thing.
It's not a bad thing at all, actually. I mean, I almost feel like we could use more restaurants. But to say that we're all restaurants, it's just kind of a big misconception, because I think maybe those are the ones that get the most exposure. Maybe they're the ones with the biggest signs, or we have. But restaurants are what can drive an economy. They can be the heart and soul of a downtown.
Well,
but here we have lots of coffee shops.
Right.
We have. I mean, how many galleries do we have? We have All Gallery. Right. We have Gallery Z. We have Uncharted Gallery. We have Western Ave Studios, which is not in downtown, but it's not far from downtown. It's like a couple streets down.
Right.
There's another gallery. There's a couple of galleries.
There's a couple of
There's a Brush Art Gallery. They're in our magazine as well. So there's a lot of galleries. There's also a lot of shopping. Not enough. I do think that we need more shopping. We have Persona. We have Gentleman's District. You have geez, how many other shopping places? There's Humanity.
Right.
Again, not a lot. But in the downtown area, yeah, I mean, maybe you do have a disproportionate amount of restaurants, but that's a good thing.
I think the disproportionate amount of the restaurants really takes over at nighttime, at 6 o'clock. At 6 o'clock, you can't find a parking space in downtown Lowell.
Right.
And all of the restaurants are filled, including Cobblestones, which is a big restaurant.
And they have a tiny
filled.
parking space. Yeah, right. They're filled.
And they have very tiny working spaces. What do they have? 10 parking
10
spaces?
parking spaces. Yeah, I haven't counted, but yeah.
And people have to find parking spaces in the garages, and that's kind of neat that we have so much emphasis on restaurants that at 6 o'clock you can't find a parking space in downtown Lowell. And I happen to go to a bank where I park frequently, and after 6, the bank lot is full. So you can't go there if you're going downtown to eat.
Right.
Right. So the Olympia restaurant in I noticed here they got the Best of Lowell award.
Yeah.
Okay, the Olympia restaurant is one of my favorite restaurants, and it's located right on not Market Street.
Well, we can look it up. Right on the Best of Lowell. Let's see. Olympia Restaurant is on 453 Market Street.
Oh, it is on Market Street. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, the Olympia restaurant is one of my favorite restaurants to go to, and I go there quite often. I happen to marry a Greek girl, and food is good.
It's great food, yeah.
Olympia, yeah. So I'm glad to see that they won an award. Thank you very much for being on the show. I wish you the best with your magazine, and I'm impressed with the fact that you started a magazine.
Thank you.
That's just it says a lot about Lowell. It says a lot about you too. And
I think it says a lot more about Lowell than it does about me. I'm just surprised that no one had done it before. There's just so many great. My favorite thing about Lowell are the business owners. They really are unbelievably creative and resilient in a place that, I mean, one of the biggest complaints is there's just not enough foot traffic.
right.
But this is the way you do it. You have to, anything that goes out from Lowell, especially into other cities and towns, and especially if guests come, if people who have, I just saw a girl who picked up a copy of the magazine. She was talking about it, and I went and commented on it, and she's like, wow, this is my first time in Lowell, and you guys have your own magazine, and I didn't know there were all these great places. I'm going to have to come back more often. Boom.
Great.
That's it. That's the whole purpose of the magazine.
Well, it works,
Yeah.
and it made me look twice, and I just really enjoyed the magazine. I enjoyed the articles that were in it, and I hope people will pick it up. It's
Free copies available downtown. You can also see a free copy of it at christianhillstudios.com. So
Okay.
it's we do have the e-version of
that's
it.
right. You do have the right. So I would just say that it's new. It's great, and thank you very much for starting it.
Thanks, Jim. I appreciate the time.
All right.